Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. How you doing? All right. Good morning, Facebook. It is quite cold here in Melbourne at the moment. As you can see, I've got my hoodie on because we've definitely had a bit of a change in weather lately. Summer has forgotten that it is meant to be summering, and instead we've had a nice big hit of like winter for all weekend and today. So it's very cloudy and rainy and basically a confusing of the seasons. So that's what's going on. I'm not somewhere, I haven't changed locations, I haven't gone anywhere. It's just purely the weather. All right, cool. So let's get started. What I wanted to talk to you about today is what's stopping you. Like, what is actually really, truly stopping you from going after your goals, going after your dreams, going after all the stuff that you say you really, really want, but then you either don't really follow through, or you flake out, or you try for a little bit and then you don't. And what is actually really, really stopping you? And so the thing I want to talk about in regards to this is motivation, right? So the way that I've seen motivation myself and the way that I've watched it over the years is that there's basically two kinds of motivation. There's that people will call it different things. They call it internal, external, that kind of stuff. I agree with that, absolutely. However, the way that I prefer to think of it is in terms of push and pull. So I believe that there's motivation that will push you towards something and motivation that will pull you towards something. And this is different to internal, external, intrinsic, extrinsic motivation, that kind of stuff, right? Because that stuff, that's still valid, absolutely. But the one I want to talk about today is push and pull. So this is something, basically the way that I view it on this, and you might, let me know if you relate to this. Let me know if this is a different way of looking at things that you haven't thought of before, maybe. Basically, that there's things that you want that you are going to be pushed towards. So whether it's yourself pushing it, that you want something and therefore you're kind of basically having to sort of push yourself towards it and force yourself towards it. So for example, you've got a goal that you want to lose 10 kilos, right? And you're going to push yourself towards that. You're going to get to that. That's your goal. However, if that goal was instead that you want to lose 10 kilos before your wedding at the end of the year, that would almost change it to more of a pull, because you've got something that is pulling you towards that goal. You've got that anchored in, that goal, that wedding, whatever it is that you want to lose the weight for, right? So it's kind of almost pulling you towards it. When you think of in terms of your job, if you're working for someone, if you've got a boss, basically, they can motivate you to do your work. Same thing, push and pull. So they can basically push you to do your work, basically give you a job and say, look, this is what you've got to do. This is your new task. Go do it. And they've pushed you into it. Or it might be in a situation where you've realized that, hey, I might be close to getting a promotion or a raise or something. And therefore, if I just lift my game, if I maybe come up with some new things that would help the company, or if I do more of this, or if I show up more like this, then maybe I will get an opportunity to basically state my case for getting a promotion or a raise, or maybe they will just, it'll actually come to me naturally. So you've come up with it yourself. It's a pull, something, this idea of a promotion or a raise that's decided in your mind that you're going to basically get motivated to do something more, do something better, become a better employee, right? So I hope that's making sense instead in terms of the push and pull. Now, let me be really clear. I don't believe that one of these is good and one of these is bad. Same as I don't believe that external versus internal or extrinsic versus intrinsic is bad or good. Because there has been a big movement of, it has to come from within you. It has to be intrinsic. It has to be, if you have any goals and they're not really within you and you're motivated yourself, then external, extrinsic stuff, that'll never really motivate you. And I believe that in the long term, especially if you're going against absolutely everything that you want and actually that you despise, basically, that you're doing just purely for the end goal, whatever it may be, right? Oh, gosh, it's getting stuffy. I absolutely believe that. So you need to have that intrinsic, that internal motivation to actually go through with it, right? However, in terms of push and pull, I don't think that there's a good or a bad. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of the time we do get caught up in basically using one, and we find that this is the one that works best for us, and we kind of forget about the other. And this is what I mean by what's stopping you. When you get too reliant on one way of motivating yourself, you're closing yourself off to all the other options. You might find that something's not working anymore, but because this is the only way you know how to do it, you don't even bother to look for anything else because you don't really know where to start, right? So if you're in the habit, for example, that a lot of sort of entrepreneurs and people that are very big goal dream achievers are in, which is that you will be very intrinsically, very pull sort of motivated of something towards something that you're working for, basically, and it's kind of you're trying to get yourself more into this long-term mindset rather than away from the whole short-term, kind of, what do you call it? Immediate, instant gratification type stuff, because you know that doesn't work. You need to actually settle in for the long haul to get results, right? So if you're already in that sort of mind frame that you are basically being pulled to a bigger goal, and therefore you are quite intrinsic and quite internal in terms of your motivation, it's really easy to forget that there is another type, that there is external, and that there is a push, and that there's nothing wrong with using that sometimes, because otherwise, when you get too stuck in your one way of motivating yourself and it stops working, you haven't got anything, right? You haven't got anything to fall back on, basically. So that's where something like changing it up and actually going, okay, so there's going to be some kind of push that I'm going to make myself do. I'm going to actually change my motivation a bit, can give you that option to get you that kickstart, right? So if what's stopping you is that you're basically very used to being driven towards something internally, and that you have this goal in your mind and you go, 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 and suddenly you find yourself not so go, go, go. You find yourself actually quite stuck, I guess, and not moving forward. A push can really, really help, right? And this is something where you kind of set some limits on yourself. You kind of get a little bit tougher. A lot of the push kind of motivation stuff is very time-based. So, for example, if your goal is to move up in your in work or something, rather than having that constant motivation of pull in the back of your head that, oh yeah, if I do this, if I show up more, if I do better work, if I help the company out, then eventually I'll get a promotion or I'll get a raise. Rather than that, you give yourself a bit of a push motivation where you basically go, well, for the next month, I'm going to show up every single day, work my ass off. I'm going to come up with just amazing ideas that are going to make such a difference. I'm basically going to blow my boss away this month. And at the end of the month, I am going into that office and I'm asking for a raise, right? And so it's still something that you want. It's still something that you're working towards, but you're giving yourself that push. You're taking away just that internal pull that you want for the goal, and it's still there. But the thing with internal pulls towards goals is that we can get pretty lazy on them because we know that they're further away and we want them. We really, really, really want them inside, deep inside. But if it's not happening right now, then there's obviously something stopping you. And that thing that may be stopping you is just that little bit extra, that little bit more oomph, basically. All right, why am I shaking around? Are we good now? Yep, that's following me. All right, cool. What was I saying? I get distracted easily. That's not true. I do go off on tangents a lot. All right, so basically back to what I was saying. So whilst having that internal, that pull motivation towards the bigger goal in mind, sometimes you do need to start yourself and try to push yourself into something, right? And this can be also take it away from just being accountable to yourself and make it accountable to someone else, right? So if it's in the job workplace, like I just gave the example then of trying to basically get a promotion, get a raise, whatever it is, rather than just making it a commitment to yourself, maybe make it a commitment to your boss. Think of something that you really know would make a huge difference and commit to it. Go to him or her, whatever. Sit down and go, look, in the next month, I'm going to double the amount of sales or whatever as KPIs, whatever it is, or I'm going to increase it by 30%, whatever it is, right? give that goal in advance and say, look, this is where I'm at. This is the kind of level I'm going to be working at now. I'm just letting you know that this is how I'm going to show up. And if that doesn't motivate you in terms of a push, in terms of having now been held accountable by your boss who you've promised that you're going to do this to, I don't know what will, right? Because if it's already not working, if your big goal that you're being pulled towards isn't actually making you get up every day and take action, then there's something else going on, right? So the push and the pull is very, very important, to use both methods of motivation on a daily basis. Sorry, my hair's frustrating me today because I haven't blow dried it properly. I just got home from the gym and took it out of a ponytail, basically. Which was a great workout, by the way. Had a great workout this morning. So, the push and the pull motivation, very important to use both and to get in the habit of using both, especially if you only ever use one. If you can identify that you basically always, whenever you want to get something done, you either push yourself into it or you basically just you have this pull towards that goal and therefore you just keep moving towards it, which is great. But if it's not working, it might be time to shake it up and try the other type of motivation. See how you go. It may work, it may not. However, there's a good chance that if you've never really used it before, that is what's stopping you. And the other part of what may be stopping you is your fear, right, around what it actually means to get this goal. And this is really important when you've got something in mind that you really are working towards, whether it's, like I said, that promotion, whether it's like weight loss or something, or your wedding, for example, that you've given yourself. Obviously, you've got the internal pull because the pull towards the goal because you want it, like you want to look great on your wedding day, obviously. But you might also have that push because now there's a date, right? So it's kind of a bit more forced, I guess. So whatever that goal is, it's also important to look at what it is that's actually stopping you from taking that action consistently. So if you're showing up most days and doing a good job at work, or showing up most days and, working hard at the gym and keeping track of your eating and everything very well so that you can get to your goals, but not all days, then it's time to have a look at what's actually stopping you from committing to it fully, from committing to it to the level that you know you need to, right? And this can be uncomfortable. It's really important to learn to allow yourself to get uncomfortable, because as long as you're just in your comfort zone, nothing's actually progressing. For sure, you get into a consistent habit of things, and then that definitely helps. But in general, if you're not, actually progressing, it's because you're too comfortable in where you are, and stepping outside the comfort zone is where the next step would be, right? And in order to get uncomfortable in the first place, you have to own up to what's going on in terms of why you're actually not moving anywhere forward, why you're not willing to get uncomfortable. And in order to do that, ask yourself uncomfortable questions, right? So get really honest, whether it's, maybe journaling. Journaling helps a lot of people to really clear up what's actually going on in their mind, because there's a different connection that happens when you put pen to paper through your hand and actually write then, versus just sitting there in open air and just thinking through it. It actually unlocks different areas of your brain. So it's really something good to try, and basically just write at the top of the page, what's stopping me from taking consistent action on this goal? And then start writing. And then ask it again. So what's actually stopping me? What are my thoughts around why I'm not showing up consistently and doing this? What is actually stopping me? And just keep writing until you get it. And it's not going to be a comfortable thing. It's not going to be something like, because I think it's going to be hard to get up in the morning. Yeah, that's part of it. But what does that actually really mean for you, right? Does that actually mean that you think there's not going to be enough time in your life to get enough sleep, and therefore you have to have it now, or you'll never sleep properly again? Or is it that you don't think that you're really worth getting up early for and having that time to yourself? Do you start to feel guilty because you think you're taking away time from other people or away from something? Do you think that you're actually losing out rather than gaining something from this goal? Whatever it is, it's going to feel uncomfortable to admit it, right? Because that's the truth. When you find the truth, it is uncomfortable. It's not something that most of us enjoy. but it's necessary. It's necessary to hear the truth sometimes, and it's necessary to make ourselves face our truth once in a while, right? So that's about everything I had for this morning. I want you to, if you have the inkling, if this is something that resonates with you, in terms of the push and pull, I want you to have a think about that motivation. Let me know, are you a push, are you a pull? What's your dominant motivation source? And do you exclude the other one? Do you not even think about using the other one when you need it? And if so, might be a good chance to try. If this is going to help you, then why the hell wouldn't you, right? All right, so that's everything for today. Let me know your thoughts on that. And I think we're good. Now, Sunday, 5th of March, we've got the If It Fits Your Macros Flexible Eating Workshop coming up. So this is an online workshop, completely live streamed through a private Facebook group. You're going to be having access to the replay as well as the actual video of it on replay as many times as you want. So if you can't make it on the actual night for the live stream, that's absolutely fine. You just watch it whenever you need, and you will have a week of support as well from me to ask any questions as you go along. So basically, the way that this is going to work is I'm going to explain exactly how If It Fits Your Macros and flexible eating works so that you understand how to work it out for yourself. And the reason that I'm so passionate about this, the reason that I teach most of my clients this if they're willing to learn, is because it is incredibly sustainable and maintainable in terms of achieving their goals. So it doesn't ask you to cut out any foods that you like. It doesn't actually ask you to cut out any food at all. And most importantly, you can adapt this and change this throughout your entire life. So you can eat anything you want. This isn't a type of plan. This isn't like going vegan or going paleo or Atkins or anything like that. This is literally you pick the foods that you want to eat to fit into your macros. So your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. And so this makes it really easy long-term because you can eat any way you want, any types of food you want, as long as you make them fit. And it's so simple and consistent in order to be able to fit in the food. So it takes away all of that bad food, good food stuff that happens to everyone when people go on, when people decide they want to lose weight, especially, I see this all the time, that they go, okay, no, I've already changed my eating. I'm eating really well now. And you can just already tell on their face that they're not enjoying it. They're just like, oh yeah, I know this is something I have to do. And therefore they're on a diet. And as soon as they're sick of it, as soon as maybe they lose a few kilos and then they get a little bit slack, they're going to be off a diet again. And this is the long-term problem, that people are constantly going on and off diets, and therefore they're just going around in circles, right? The idea is to actually find something that works for you, that you can adapt all the time, right? I'm all about education and giving people the knowledge to do these things themselves. I don't like lemmings. I don't like people who just have to rely on someone else to literally just step by step put them on the spot and make them follow the steps until they're sick of it and they realize that that's not their path. They're off on some weird direction that they didn't even want to go to, but they've just been following the steps. And so they run in the opposite direction and then go a little bit further. And this is what I mean by the weight, right? You kind of follow it step by step by step. The weight comes down. You realize that you're on a diet plan and on a lifestyle that you absolutely hate and you can't sustain, and you run in the opposite direction, literally, and you gain weight again. And that's just what happens over and over and over, until people actually learn to take it into their own hands and understand what's going on in their body, understand why things are happening, and understand how to change it when it comes up, right? So this workshop will absolutely blow your mind. It will absolutely change everything about the way that you've seen food, about the way that you've actually thought that you have to do in order to lose weight. If you've ever thought you have to go clean eating, or you have to just live on chicken breasts and oats and broccoli and rice and that kind of stuff, this is going to blow your mind, basically, and it's going to make you really excited for the rest of your life, because there's not going to be an avalanche of broccoli and chicken and oats. If you want it, for sure. I love all those foods. However, they definitely don't form the entire diet, basically, that I have, right? So jump onto, I'm going to pop the link down below, www.arnabrooks.com.au/IIFYM. And so you can get all the details on there, as well as the couple of options that I have. So there is a VIP option as well, So if you know that you're VIP already, basically this will mean that you get another 3 weeks added, as well as the week of support after the workshop. You get another 3 weeks, so 4 weeks in total of Facebook group support from me to ask any questions you like. And it's a crazy, crazy good deal. So if you actually want to commit to this and you think, great, a month of basically having someone, me, to rebound questions off and to get feedback from and everything, it's incredible. Make sure you do grab the VIP option if that's for you. All right, I will pop the link down below and I will see you guys very soon. Have a good day. Bye.